So you actually want to have more muscle mass, and that will help you burn more body fat. And that's why you need to have protein.
Oh, and a full year, and that lets you save. Who cares?
Welcome to a brand new edition of Ageless Energy, where we talk about how to burn fat, increase energy, and balance hormones for women over 40. Over the past 20 years as a performance coach, I've worked with hundreds of women that have the exact same struggles you do. I hope to shine some light with this podcast on what can be the most challenging time of your life and let you know there is hope to find success with your health and what you're looking for. Please share and enjoy. All right, welcome to the Ageless Energy Show. I'm your host, as usual. If you're not sure who I am, my name is Drew Tadia, founder and CEO of True Form Life. And for the last 20 years, we've been working with women, in particular 40 plus, that are looking to increase energy, balance hormones, and burn body fat. And that's what we talk about. That's what we've been talking about for a long time. I feel like it's taken us a long time to come to that realization, but at least for the last couple of years, we've been focusing on this. We've been able to help many of our clients and customers and audience see great results. So today we're talking about protein, the importance of protein for women 40 plus. And I got to tell you, I got some great information for you, but it's such a, how can I say, lost subject. We work with women every single day in our coaching, one-on-one coaching. We also have a group coaching called our Metabolism Accelerator program. And when women come to us with challenges and we look at their diet, probably protein is the number one lacking nutrient, or like macronutrient. I'm going to get into that in a moment. So when it comes to protein in particular, here's the thing, is that we see, and I say women in particular, it could be men. I don't work with men. It's, I used to do sports and conditioning. I used to be a professional athlete myself. It was just, we found better results with women for the most part. Women are easier to work with, more open-minded. So some of this could pertain to men, but we don't work with men. So in particular, when I say this is what I see, is that women in particular in this age group that I work with and talk to every day lack protein. That's probably the main macronutrient. And take that with a grain of salt, because you could be different, right? Like some people don't eat any fats. We had one of our, she actually wasn't a client, but she's someone in our community, someone following along. And I started talking about healthy fats, and you got to have healthy fats. And she was afraid of fats, like many people are, because we were told not to eat any fat, not understanding the difference between good fats and bad fats. And she started eating fats, and she dropped like 10 pounds in a few weeks, just making one simple. And that's what a coach can do, can change your life in a short amount of time. I told this to one of our clients on the last coaching call. I used to be embarrassed to say we hired a business coach. And I'm like, I felt like I should be able to figure it out on my own, that I shouldn't need help, that other people can do it. And then I started to realize, I got into more coaching. Like we've invested thousands and thousands of dollars in coaching over the last few years. And I was so resistant to coaching. And then I got a coach, and it was life changing, changed our business. So it's the same thing of we hear some of our clients say, I'm a little bit embarrassed that I need a coach to do this. I've heard people say, our clients say, I'm embarrassed that I have to feel that I have to work out to be in shape. And like, these are things that we've told ourselves over the years, right? That you don't, like, those are lies. We have truths and lies about ourselves, and these things that are made up. And the truth is that the most successful people in the world have a coach in every area. So, like I said, the more financially wealthy we become, the more we invest in coaching, and then the more financially wealthy we become. Like it's just how it goes. So, if you were to consider hiring a coach for whatever it is, like obviously we talk about nutrition and fitness as performance coaches. If you were to hire someone, you would be much better off understanding how to see results in a short amount of time, because we've been doing it for 20 years. But it's the same. It could be like if you're in business, it could be a relationship coach, right? It could be a business coach, whatever it is that you're looking for. If you want to fast track your results, you hire a coach. It's pretty clear to me now that I've seen it personally. And we've seen it with our clients as well, right? We have so many women come to us that say, I've been struggling for years. And then they start working with us. In a few weeks, they're like, I haven't seen results like this in 20 years. And I'm like, that's what a coach can do. But let me move on. So we believe in the 4 macronutrients, a balance of them. 4 macronutrients briefly are proteins, fats, carbohydrates, complex carbs, and then the last one is antioxidants, fiber, veggies. So when I talk about protein, mostly we see women lacking the protein in particular. And I'll tell you why in a second, but mostly because, or what we see is carb heavy diets. So carb heavy diets being like, if you look at breakfast, for example, most people have like some form of cereal, oatmeal. Then you have muffins, donuts that we know we shouldn't have, but have anyways. And then you have your pancakes, your French toast, your waffles. It's endless, and it's all based around carbs. So a lot of people say, oh, I just grabbed a muffin and a coffee. And that's normal for a lot of people. So once we start making this adjustment, they see big results in a short amount of time, because that small adjustment is actually a big adjustment in the full picture. So when you're looking at a carb heavy diet, it is much easier to gain body fat on a carb heavy diet. If you're to, and we don't do like restrictive diets. We do a well balance of all the macros and helping our clients understand which ones to choose. But it's very clear to me, like if I wanted to gain weight, and here's the thing is that I've been a hard gainer my whole life. And, it's actually hard for me to gain weight. And I know that makes a lot of people upset, especially women, because they try so hard to lose weight. But there is a category of usually men and some women as well, but they're trying to gain muscle mass. They're trying to gain weight, but it's really challenging for them to do that. And then you have some women that feel like they're like skinny and they're, excuse the word, weak or a little bit frail, because they're so thin and they don't have any muscle mass, and they struggle to find an ability to gain weight. So at any rate, there's a category of these people. A lot of people just don't realize that there is. And, at any rate, I've experimented with many different things to help myself gain weight over the years. And I could easily gain weight eating things like eating over carbing and eating things like breads, like a lot of breads and grains, right? It's just an easy hack to gain weight. But here's the thing. When you think about it, a lot of people eat that food all the time and they're like, don't know why I can't lose any weight. And I look at their meal plan and I'm like, you're 75% carbs, 5%, veggies, 5% fats. You know what I mean? Of course, I'm just guesstimating, but when I'm looking at protein in particular, it's very low. Okay. Harrison H says, hi, Dad. And then Dorothy says, scones, croissants. You could go down the list. There's a million things that you could do that's carb heavy, right? We all know that. So we have to understand that the importance of trying to get more protein in our diet, which is what I'm going to talk about today. I wrote some notes down. What did I do with these notes? Okay. Usually those of you that have been watching for years, usually I just talk, but, I wanted to give you guys a proper structure and help you understand why this is so important, why this topic is so important. So protein helps maintain muscle mass, which naturally declines as we age, right? So there's actually something called, sarcopenia, not an exciting word. So sarcopenia is the decline of muscle mass as we age. So after the age of 30, this, I don't know what the word is, the ability for our body to hold muscle mass drastically declines. And that just compounds as the years go on. So when we see women 40, 45, 50, not eating any protein or very little, it's usually a full-on lack of nutrients, but protein in particular. And then they're not doing any resistance training. That's when we see there's such a long, like a laundry list of issues that come up with this. You see lack of balance. And I would say that balance isn't just balance. It's like really stability. Like we don't have a strong foundation, like a muscular foundation, because we've been consuming rancid oils. We've been consuming refined sugar that actually strips minerals from our bones, that makes our bones weaker. We don't supplement properly with a proper protein supplement or magnesium, vitamin D, zinc, these types of things that can actually make our bones denser and stronger. So we see as we age these frail individuals that often don't have much balance and they fall and then they break a hip. And like unfortunately, that's the reality of many of our family members as they age. And if you don't do anything about it, you move yourself into that category of ominous, or it's like a dangerous place to be, because it's very easy for your bones to break because they're so frail. And that starts with a solid structure of protein through muscle mass, through bone retention, if you will. So when it comes to protein in particular, supporting bone mass, and then of course many of us hopefully everyone has heard of osteoporosis. That is the disintegration of your bones, the weakening of your bones. You're actually losing bone mass. So not only are you losing muscle mass as you age, you're losing bone mass. And people are jumping off. They're like, I don't want to hear this. This sounds terrible. Stick with me. I'm going to give you ideas and suggestions and tips of what you can do about this, which is why we're here. You can take action. And my hope for today is that you will take action. That today isn't just, you're just going to sit here and watch and then move on with your life and not make any adjustments in your life. And think about small adjustments, right? Not big adjustments. Small is sustainable. I talk to this. I mention this with my clients all the time. So often we'll see someone jump in and they'll lose a bunch of weight really quickly and they're excited, right? And then the next week or a few weeks later, they haven't lost the equivalent amount of weight. And I was the same way. I was excited too. I was like, great, you've lost 7 pounds in the first week. That's great. And then we realize, myself and client, that's not sustainable. So now when I see that big week, I'm like, oh boy, this is going to take some different mental training, because we expect those big numbers all the time. And the problem is, if you usually drop big numbers, you definitely level out without question, but that's a good thing. That's your metabolism protecting itself. But then we usually see an increase in a couple of pounds, because that big number, whether it's 5, 10, we've seen 12 pounds in a week or two, or 10 days. That's very hard to maintain. So you see your body like fighting back and it wants to gain some weight. So then you got to fight even harder to drop again. So what I tell our clients is, and a lot of them are disappointed. Like, oh, they lose 1 or 2 pounds a week. And I'm like, that's fantastic. How are you disappointed? So losing weight slower is more sustainable. So what we want to see, we have a graph for our clients, and each week they're weighing and measuring and entering their data, taking progress pictures. And we want to see a slow decline of their weight going down instead of up and down, up and down. That's challenging on the body. That's challenging on your metabolism. That's challenging on you mentally, emotionally. So instead, think about a slowly decline instead of drastic drops and increases. Protein is great for this one. Like this tip says, great for weight management. Now, let me explain that. The more muscle mass that your body has, the more your metabolism burns. And the more your metabolism burns, the more you can burn body fat. So it's weak. There's so many different like analogies that are, I would say, false. So for example, lifting weights is going to give you man arms, or like that's so false. You guys have to excuse me. I'm in our shipping house and there's people buzzing to get in, and there's going to be doors opening and people moving stuff. This is my office. I think most of you have seen, I showed you guys a tour of our place. So you can go back in this Facebook group and watch or have a look if you like. It's only a couple posts down. But so the more muscle mass that you have, the more your body has the ability to burn body fat. So we get afraid, but we get afraid of that, right? We're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to have man arms. I don't want to get big and bulky. It's, I would say, I don't like impossible, but it's almost impossible to have like big bulky muscles unless you're specifically trying to do that. And it takes years to happen. If you start working out for a few weeks or a few months, probably for a few years, there's no chance that you're going to get big bulky muscles. Okay. You have to eat for that, particularly for that, and you have to work out particularly for that. It's a very different program. It's a different mindset. It's a different lifestyle. So understand that. So you actually want to have more muscle mass, and that will help you burn more body fat. And that's why you need to have protein. So you actually want to have more muscle mass. That's going to give you more bone density. It's going to make you stronger, more stable. And then we can get into mobility and flexibility types of things after. But the other thing is the skin health. Like, Have you ever seen someone lose a bunch of weight really quickly and then their skin looks like it's kind of hanging off them? And I'm not talking about just like belly or back of the arms. I'm talking about like their face and their eyes kind of look sunken in. Like that is in most cases, that's lack of nutrients and malnutrition. That was probably like Ozempic. That was probably, I'm not even sure what it's called when you get the tie in your stomach. Like you see people lose a lot of weight really quickly. And it's not, I wouldn't call it sustainable. I certainly wouldn't call it healthy. They actually lose the elasticity in their skin, which nobody wants. So if you were to increase your protein and balance your macros and start to exercise, you completely take a different route than what I would say is unhealthy and taking that route of what could actually cause your skin to lose the elasticity. Okay. So which proteins that you should be choosing? Now, you guys should like really think about this and probably come up with your own meal plan. Like we create meal plans and grocery shopping lists and recipes for our clients. If you don't have someone doing that for you, you have to do it yourself. Now, we just did a full training in our private group coaching, and I talked about our Success Sunday system. And here's the thing is a lot of times people think they don't have time for something, but it's not that you don't have time. It's that you don't have a proper system set up in your life. So we were teaching our clients how to actually plan, like meal plan and plan your week around meal planning. So you have food prepared and ready to go. We also talked about planning your exercise routines and making sure you know exactly what days you're working out, what time. And then we talked about lifestyle in particular, planning your key family or important moments and priorities. Here's the thing is like most of us don't set out priorities in advance. Like every single week, my family, we sit down and we decide what the week is going to look like. Sometimes we look at what the month is going to look like. And that's how you plan for the future. And that's how you prioritize. And that's how you avoid running around like a chicken and not having a proper plan for you to succeed. It's just flying by the seat of your pants, hoping you're going to remember to do everything. And usually you're forgetting important things because we put the important things that are a bit harder. They take longer. We put them at the bottom of the list and just check off the things, all the little tickies that take no time at all. Right. So it's important for you to understand that to prioritize your life, it's based around reverse engineering what your week or days look like. And then sitting down and planning that out with it, whether that's in a written planner. We have a electronic planner. I do have an electronic, like a Google Calendar. And then Dorothy doesn't do any of those. Hers is all written. On our fridge, we have a calendar of exactly what, like a written calendar of like a whiteboard, some big magnet. We have that of exactly what our month looks like. And then we both have big pieces of paper stuck on the wall of what our week looks like. So Dorothy actually made one for the gala 14 days, all the things she wanted to take off. And then mine was exactly what my week looks like of what blocks I'm going to be at work, what blocks are family time, what blocks I'm working out, what blocks is, just me and toddler time. Anyways, that is all set out in advance, and that's how we organize our life. And that will help you organize your life as well if you're willing to do it. So hopefully that helps you understand you need some type of meal plan so you know what you're going to consume throughout the week instead of like everyone knows what it's like, how exhausting it is to you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to prepare tonight? Oh my gosh, the kids are asking I didn't buy anything at the grocery store, so we got to scrounge and have mac and cheese. Like that kind of stuff becomes eliminated once you create a meal plan for yourself. And what was I going to say along those lines? I mean, that's one of the main compliments we get from our clients is like, I'm so glad I don't have to worry about what I'm creating, what I'm having for dinner anymore. Like it's a no-brainer. So let me move on to the optimal proteins that you should choose in my suggestion. So these are my suggestions. Other people have different opinions. So lean meats would include chicken, like chicken breast, turkey, like a turkey breast. And then you have eggs is a great choice, and fish is also a great choice. So those are my 4 top: eggs, fish, chicken, and turkey. Those are my top 4. I would also probably lean on, I really like bison. Bison has becoming a staple in our life. Like I really like bison. I like the way it tastes. I like the way it makes me feel. Okay. I'm going to move on. A lot of people, we've realized this after coaching hundreds of clients over the last few years, is that's just these few years. We've been doing this for 20 years, but it's been more apparent. A lot of people in Alberta, where are you guys watching from? Can you let me know in the comments? So let's say for a lot of people in Alberta, they don't want fish. Okay. And then you go to those people in like the East Coast, like New Brunswick. That's where Dorothy was born and raised and has family there. And they are much more open to having fish because that's what they were raised with. That's what they grew up with. In Alberta, we're obviously landlocked. We don't have like an ocean next to us. So a lot of people in Alberta are like, and I'm not doing fish. I'm not a fish person. We, usually, well, we've done a lot of experimenting over the years, but, beef doesn't agree with me. Maybe I could talk about that in a bit. I don't love beef in particular, but it's like, I have a family member, I have an uncle that has beef cattle. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not like trying to, disrespect the industry. I'm just sharing with you. So then there was usually like fish, those light meats that I talked about. And, but more particular, I was like looking at steak. I'm like not really a steak fan. So then we looked at bison. There's a bison ranch like right outside of Olds where we used to live, and we tried some bison. We're like, hey, this isn't that bad. Then we tried bison again. We're like, hey, this is actually really good. So now we buy bison on a regular basis. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what to look for. You could look at dairy products as well, like yogurt. Yogurt and cottage cheese are good ones. If you're able to consume dairy, a lot of people, because of their gut microbiome and their digestion issues, don't do well with dairy. But if you don't have dairy issues, Greek yogurt's fantastic. It's high in protein and a great way to get an extra, like you're not cooking it, right? You're just pulling it out of the fridge. You're not preparing it. You don't have to season it. You can't flavor it. Like we put cinnamon, sometimes maple syrup, just buy a plain Greek yogurt. And then I really like cottage cheese because cottage cheese is, it's a casein, which means it's slow digesting. So it's a really nice snack in the evening. And you can do anything. You can do so many things with it. You can put, what I used to do in college, I used to get like, I was in the dorm. When I was in the dorms, we had, I paid for food, dorm food. And, I was trying to gain weight. So I'd have these like big mountains of food, and I would get like stacks of this cottage cheese because it's so high in protein. And then they were always like, in college, they're like, protein, get as much protein as possible. And, I mean, if I could take a step back, that's how we got into the protein industry or the supplement industry. Those that are new here. And we have a stack. We have over 200, almost 300 people that are brand new over the last few weeks in our Facebook group. So hopefully some of you are in here watching and enjoying some of our content. But we got into the supplement industry because I felt terrible on supplements. That's what they told us in college, university. I played professional baseball. They were like, just have a lot of protein. They didn't know, right? Drink Gatorade and chocolate milk after games to hydrate. Like, it's nonsense. And, so I had a whole tackle box of supplements and I felt terrible. Like I was huge. I was like 215 pounds of muscle, and I was irritable, didn't sleep, immobile. Like I just didn't feel good. And I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, well, I'm supposed to be like an elite athlete, and I feel terrible. So I started to read ingredients. I don't know what ignited the ingredients thing, but I started to read ingredients. I started to pull out ingredients, and I was like, what is this? Then I would research one ingredient, and I would find the most bizarre things of like the same ingredients that are in cement, the same ingredients that are in a window washer, the same ingredients they make to make glass, like chemicals, like these are chemicals. And I'm like, holy my gosh, how is this like possible? So I started to create my own supplements in my dorm room. I would have like just an egg white protein, and then I would mix things with it. Or I would have I would pull apart pre-workout stuff because, like those bright blue drinks that some of your kids might be drinking because the football coach told them to, that used to give me a horrible headache. So I'd look up like nitric oxide, and like that's what actually gives your body the pump, and how can I get that clean? So I've been experimenting in this, in the supplement industry for over 20 years. That's why been telling you guys that we've been working with clients for a long time. This isn't like a brand new thing. I'll get into this more when we talk about, in proteins, but, I think it's super interesting to understand what's in products and why we're taking them. And for me, just to wrap that up, is that I started to remove the terrible ingredients from my body, and I started to feel better. I started to, and later in my career, never had an injury. I started to sleep better, started to feel better. I could breathe better, like all that junk. Like I went through it. I had digestion issues early on as well. And I started to remove that. And then I started to teach my teammates about it. And then I started to work at a gym and started to teach clients about it. So it was all like a progression over the years. It wasn't like, oh, I just figured this out a year or two ago. So we only had a couple people answer, Saskatchewan, Penhold, and Sylvan. I thought we might get some more answers, but I think most people would be around the Alberta area. So more prone to red meats, as opposed to lighter meats like fish, but tons of health benefits. So those are the meats that I'm going to suggest for you. Those are the proteins that I would suggest in meat form. I'm going to get into plants here in a second, but so chicken, fish, turkey, and what was the other one? I said bison. If you want to look at, I said fish as well. I feel like a lot of people don't know how to buy fish. They don't know how to prepare fish. That's why often they don't want to consume fish, but it's great for your brain function, your omega-3s. If you're not going to consume fish, you should definitely be consuming chia seeds every single day, for your brain health. Brain health in particular, we have Magtin, which is fantastic it's a magnesium. That's the only magnesium that can break the blood-brain barrier. And then over my shoulder here, we have MCT oil, great for brain function. But if you're not consuming fish, you need to supplement in other areas through chia seeds, magnesium, MCT oil to help with your brain function, cognitive function, to fight Alzheimer's, dementia, all those brain issues that you should be avoiding, need to be consumed through food like fish and seeds, chia seeds. If you're not doing that, it's got to be other supplementation. That was a complete side note. So plant-based is, I guess, so plant-based is you can look at beans, lentils, and quinoa. Those are higher in protein, but the beans and lentils will be also higher in carbs. And if you're already having a higher carb diet, you may not want to consume extras. Like if you look at beans and rice, for example, they're both a carb, but they also make a complete protein. So you have to pay attention to how much carbs you're consuming. That's why we balance the ratios with our clients, because it's not just like, okay, I'm going to eat more protein. So you eat a bunch more beans and then you have all your carbs for breakfast still, and you're gaining weight because you're like, hey, I'm adding more protein. What's happening? You're still gaining weight because your protein is too high. The challenge for us is like when we make our meal plans for our clients, it's specific to their weight, and we balance. So for example, I'll talk about protein bars here in a second. You need 25 grams of protein, but you also need low carbohydrates and low calories, because if you're over-caloring, is that a word? If you're over-caloring, you're having too many calories in a day because of the protein content. You're like, oh, more protein. But all that protein could be equaling more calories that your body's not burning off. You're not going to be able to burn the body fat that you're hoping for. So hopefully that gives you some insight. It's eggs was my fourth one besides bison. So I wrote down some proteins to avoid. Proteins that you want to avoid, like you really want to pay attention to preservatives, like meat that is preserved, like your deli meat, for example. It has a bunch of junk in it that you shouldn't be consuming. Like you should read the package and it should say without this, and this, right? Preservatives usually high in sodium that we shouldn't be consuming. That increases our blood pressure, high blood pressure, not great for our heart. So these are all things that we have to pay attention to and avoid when it comes to low quality. Meats that are higher in fat are bacon. And I've heard people say, I'm not giving up my bacon. I'm going to always eat bacon. I'm like, okay, whatever. You make decisions for yourself, right? But then you probably shouldn't complain if you're like, I'm not able to burn body fat, or I'm not able to, build the muscle I want because a quarter of that meat is fat, right? It's saturated fat. It's not the fat that you want. What else do I have down here? You could look at, where did I put? It's not here on my list. You could look at your ham or ribs is usually high in fat. Of course, I already mentioned those deli meats. You could look at like those salamis. Those are deli meats, but those are actually high in fat. There's another one. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying never have it, but I really like a spicy Italian sub at Subway. That'd be my go-to. And, but of course that's not the best health choices, right? Make your health choices, or make your choices and then live by your decisions or change them, right? And then the other proteins you want to avoid is protein bars that are high in sugar and too high in calories. That's number one. Like protein bars are mostly, like in most cases, protein bars are just chocolate bars, like glorified chocolate bars. There's just as much sugar in most protein bars as chocolate bars. So most protein bars you want to avoid. And, what was the other one? Oh, like protein powders, like protein powders that have all kinds of junk in it, like maltodextrin, sucralose, seed oils, like sunflower oil, safflower oil. Like that stuff is destroying your gut bacteria. It's wearing on your joints. It's causing all kinds of different health issues. And unfortunately, a lot of times people are like, oh, I'm taking protein powder. I'm doing a good thing. I don't need to do anything else. Like just because you're supplementing with like a protein powder or other product, you still have to, you still have to eat. Like I actually had someone message me and they're like, hey, my doctor said I'm low in protein. What can I do? Or what protein powder should I take? And I'm like, well, you should probably try to eat more food with have a high protein diet. Like, no, I just want to know what proteins to take. Like, what? And I'm like, okay. Like if that's what you want, you can't change someone's mindset. You can't talk to someone, like that's not my job. But, it's worth mentioning, that you also have to change your nutrition value, not just supplements. Don't think restricting your diet is a good thing. Don't think eliminating macros is a good thing. As I mentioned earlier, we like to balance our macros. And I don't think that, I don't think a keto diet is healthy, nor the carnivore diet. And I don't think bacon is all that healthy. You could look at turkey bacon, like a lean turkey bacon. That's a little bit different. What do you call it? Like a pork bacon. It's half of its fat. And I have a really hard time with that. I would disagree. I would disagree with that doctor. I disagree with doctors all the time though. So that probably doesn't mean much. The wild meats are lean, low in fat. And if they're wild, they're not raised with all the junk that you find in other meats. You guys could probably guess.
One of the things I would like to ask of you guys is that some of you know that I don't run ads on this show and don't plan on in the immediate future. So the only ask I have for you is that you help us spread the word so we can help more women burn body fat, increase energy, and balance their hormones. And the only way that we can do that is if you can rate and review this podcast. So the single thing that I could have you do or could ask of you is to leave a review. It'll take 5 minutes or one swipe with a thumb. It would mean the absolute world to me. And more importantly, you could change the world for someone else. As many of you know, there's plenty of women that struggle in this age group for balancing hormones, increasing energy, and burning body fat. So if you could help spread the word, that would make a big difference in our life and probably someone else's as well.
Okay, let me get through here. What else can I tell you? What else is on my list? I think, okay, when it comes to protein powder in particular, I just want to shine some light on this because we're a supplement company. We have products. Like I don't try to hide that, but we also don't push our supplements onto people. So we always say if you want to consume supplements, we're here to help offer education. The problem is with supplementation and protein powders in particular is everyone thinks they're the same. Like, oh, I take a protein, I'm good. And the problem there is that what I said earlier is that most protein supplements are junk and they cause all kinds of different health issues. Like if you take a protein supplement and it causes you to be constipated, there is junk in there that your body is rejecting. It's like, I don't want this. If you're taking a protein supplement and you're gassy and bloaty, you're gassy and bloated, there is usually junk in that. Now, the only caveat to that is that if you're taking a protein supplement and you're chugging it, we see it all the time. We see people like put a scoop of protein, shake it up and like basically chug it. Like there's a lot of nutrients. There should be. There's a lot of proteins in there, or there's a lot of ingredients in there that your gut and intestines and digestion is trying to like figure out what to do with, divide, break down, absorb, excrete. And, so to chug that is probably the worst thing that you can do for your digestive system. And then on top of that, we're using cold milk, and cold doesn't do great in our digestive system, which is why I say don't drink ice water or like ice cold drinks. That's not good for your digestive system. So, and like, what bothers me is that the industry is so mismanaged, or I don't like the word misinformation, but incorrect information. Like for our product, like for our vanilla protein, these are probably the cleanest ingredients that you're going to find. And I'm just going to that's just 100% transparent. So we've had someone bring this to their doctor, and their doctor was like, wow, those are great ingredients. We've had people, we just had a practitioner write in, and she said there's a whole group of us looking at your products, and we don't, like, they don't vouch for us. They don't sell our products. She just came across our stuff, and she said, there's a whole group of us holistic practitioners, and they said that is the cleanest product we've seen. And I'm like, I don't need their I mean, it's nice to hear. I don't need their validation because I've been doing this for 20 years. I know, like, this is the best you're going to find. And it's not chalky, and doesn't cause any digestion issues. It doesn't cause any bloating. And here's the thing. I just talked to someone, and they're like, oh, I heard stay away from pea protein, and like all that stuff is cheap and it doesn't digest. And they were actually some type of trainer coach. And I'm like, are you telling your clients that? Because a lot of times people just don't know, and they feel like they should share information that they've heard from someone else. And I feel like that's probably not the best way to go about things. I don't have any problem with people selling, like, MLM companies or people selling other products, but it's really eye-opening to see. Like, I think it's great. I think it's great. We're in an era where you can go and make your own money, and you can start running. I wouldn't call it your own business. If someone can tell you that you can't sell their products anymore, I wouldn't say it's your own business, but I feel like it's great people can go and do that. The problem is that you see someone that just starts selling like a MLM product, and then they become a health expert, and they start sharing all this information. And some of it is a bit sketchy, and some of it probably doesn't have a whole lot of research behind it. And it's probably someone's opinion, which is a bit scary to me, being in this industry for so long. But if you were to look at pea protein, for example, we said pea protein is one of the best ways to get a natural or plant-based protein into your body. So a lot of people say pea protein isn't the best quality, or pea protein causes gas, bloating, indigestion. So what we did is we found a company that would make us fermented pea protein. So what does the fermentation do? It helps digest quicker and easier on your digestive system, which is why people don't experience that gas, bloating that you do from conventional supplements. And again, that's different. If you're going to chug the whole thing, nothing's going to save your digestion. So we also have organic sprouted pumpkin seed protein. So why is that important? It's organic and it's sprouted. So anytime you sprout a seed, you increase the nutritional value, and you also increase the ability for your body to digest the product. So again, when someone looks at this and they're like, oh, plant-based, it's junk, like, or it's not, like, oh, I only take whey proteins. Like, they just don't know. There's just a lack of knowledge there. And I'm okay with that. And that's why we're here. We're here to educate and help explain and help people understand. So the next one is fermented sprouted rice protein. It's also organic. So it's the same thing. Organic offers a higher value. If you sprout it, it offers more nutritional value, and it's easier to digest. So I would encourage you to go and read ingredients of your protein powders or at your health food store. Health food stores, by the way, unfortunately aren't much different than grocery stores. I used to go into health food stores and think like, oh, all these products are going to be healthy and clean, but they have to work on margins as well. And usually the lower quality types of products, they have better margins. Like, we don't, like, to be honest with you, this is on sale for us, 10% off right now. And we never put it on sale because our margins are so low. Our manufacturer keeps raising the prices for us. So we make less per container, and we ran into a situation where we almost stopped selling it. And then we raised our prices probably a year or two ago. We raised our prices because it didn't make sense for us to sell it anymore. It takes up space on our shelves. We have to pay for shipping. We have to design labels. And if we can't make any money off it, it doesn't offer any value for us as a business, other than helping our clients understand that there's differences in between protein powder, and some are better than others, and they certainly perform better than others. So this is the only time that we have put a sale on this just to get in your hands. But again, when it comes to protein powders, it offers the least amount of margin, so we almost never discount it. So so we also have organic sprouted quinoa. So what you want to stay away from when it comes to your protein supplements, you want to stay away from seed oils. So if it has sunflower oil, safflower oil, I think those are the main ones they put in there. I'm trying to think if there's something else. You have your other ones. You have like your canola oils, your grapeseed oils, which you want to stay away from, but they don't usually put those in protein supplements. And then you want to stay away from sucralose. Sucralose is almost always in these. That ruins your gut bacteria, wreaks havoc on your digestive system. And those seed oils are really hard on your joints. They wear on your joints. So you're looking at arthritis or osteoarthritis that's damaging. So a lot of times people think they're doing a good thing for their supplements through their supplementing, and they're not. And here's the problem that I run into is that we have clients that are like, oh, I'm just going to finish my container first. Or they're like, I'm just going to use what I like to use. And I'm fine with that. The problem is that if you're using a product that's not clean, you've been putting yourself through damage for years, and you're continuing to do that. And I kind of thought about doing it. It doesn't make sense for us financially, but I kind of thought of people like, send us your low quality, crappy protein supplement and we'll replace it with a free one of these. But these cost us a lot of money, to be honest with you. So it's hard to do something like that. But, when people, yeah. So I guess just let me finish my sentence here, and I'll wrap things up here. But when people are using other supplements like this, let's say, for example, we're working with someone, they're using a really low quality supplement, and they're like, I don't know what's wrong with my digestion. Like, I've been eating your meals and I've been following the meal plan. I've been exercising. And then you're having a product like this every day, a low quality product like this every day, and it's causing bloating, and it's causing your digestion to get thrown out of whack, and it's ruining your gut bacteria. Well, it doesn't seem like a big thing, but one little thing can make a big difference, right? And it's really hard for us. Like, what we try to do is eliminate variables when we work with our clients. So we say, follow this workout plan, because if that workout plan isn't working, we can change it. If you're following your own workout plan, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how long you're doing it for. I don't know what exercises you're doing. Like, it's so difficult to help offer advice to people if you don't know what they're doing. So sometimes people will message me and they'll say, hey, I need some help with this, or I'm wondering how I can do that. And I'll ask questions. And then some people are offended. They're like, oh, I don't want to answer all these questions. And I'm like, well, like, how can anyone accurately help you without having some, like, a base of questions or knowing exactly what you're doing or what you're going through? If not, like, if someone like myself or a practitioner doesn't ask questions and they don't know what's going on and they offer you advice, it's not accurate. They're basically just guessing or offering a generalization that it probably isn't going to help you much because it's not specific to you. So I would suggest if you reach out to us or if you reach out to someone else, hopefully they'll ask you some questions so you have an idea, so they have an idea about exactly what you need and how they can help. If they're not asking you questions, you know right from the jump that it's just a general comment and it's probably not specific. Well, it couldn't be specific to you because they don't know about you. But oh, that was it. I was just saying we're eliminate variables. Like, if you're following our meal plan, I know what you're eating. This is for our clients if you're watching. If you're following our meal plan, we know what you're eating. If you're properly supplementing by the supplements that we're recommending, if you choose to supplement, if you're exercising and following our program, and then you get to a place where you hit a plateau or you're not seeing the results you want, we can help change that. If you're like half following the meal plan, doing some of the workouts, using other supplements, then we have to go down a whole different road that takes longer. It's like, okay, let's break down all of these supplements that you're consuming. Let's check out your entire meal plan to see all the things that you're consuming, right? It just takes more time. Like, when we call our metabolism accelerator program a map to your success, MAP. So you start here, and this is exactly what you do and to get you here. And we've seen incredible results. So that is, that might give you some insight on how to see results as you move forward. So I'm going to wrap things up. If you guys need any help, let me know and we'll reach out to you. You can always DM. But hopefully this helped you, give you an idea of why you should start adding more protein to your diet, how you can start adding more protein, which ones you should add and which ones you should stay away. When is the best time to have? Yes. Oh, great question. When is the best time to have protein powder? Okay, we suggest 30 grams of protein in the morning. So that doesn't have to be protein powder, but it's the easiest way to, we suggest 30 grams of protein first thing in the morning within 30 minutes of waking up. So having a shake is the easiest way to do that, but you can do that through food. If you want to grab some eggs, some turkey bacon, some sausage, something along those lines to get your protein first thing in the morning. I really like protein right after a workout. I think that's probably the best time. Like protein powder, like a shake after a workout. And if you're not working out, probably first thing in the morning. That should give you a good idea. Sound good? Thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye, everyone.